Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Michelle here. I hope you're well today. Apologies for the later start. I was facilitating a group this morning, so I had to just delay it slightly. Let me just check a couple of things before we make a start. Let me see now, is this live? Okay, for some reason I can't see this on my Facebook page. Let me see. Okay, if you can see this, and hear me, can you just give me a thumbs up, because I am not seeing this on my page. I can see it in Zoom okay, but there we are. Perfect. Hi, Catherine. Great that you can join us today. Okay, so it's live. Brilliant. Okay, great. So if you are joining, if you could just let me know where you're joining from, what part of the world you're connecting in today. Today we're going to talk about creating certainty in an uncertain world. So it's something that I think we all need to cultivate at the minute. Excuse me. So where do we start with this? It's a big one, isn't it? Because life is so uncertain just now. There is everything that we knew to be certain is now very uncertain. And, you know, under normal circumstances, the great paradox is that we need both certainty and uncertainty to grow and to thrive and to be all that we can be as human beings. But of course, that's under normal circumstances, and we're not living under normal circumstances at the minute. We are 6 months into a global pandemic. Not that I need to remind any of you, but certainly from the people I have been chatting to and people that I follow as well in this world, there seems to be a real feeling at the minute of exhaustion and a feeling of being really fed up with it. And I was listening to a podcast recently there with one of my most favourite authors, Brené Brown. And she was talking about, you know, we've kind of reached this stage now where she calls it the day two. The day two is that feeling that adrenaline is starting to come down. We're in the middle of it. We know we're in the middle of it. We want to turn back, but we can't turn back, and we don't know when it's going to be over. And it's just not a great feeling at all. So today on this video, I am going to share with you some strategies and techniques that might help you feel more of a sense of control over yourself and over your life right now. And I think the really difficult thing about this pandemic, and there's an author called Tara Healy, and I'm going to quote her because the quote really, really spoke to me. And Brené Brown shared it on her podcast as well. And the quote is, "This is different from a hurricane or a tornado, where you can look outside and you can see the damage. The destruction for most people going through this pandemic is invisible and it's ongoing." And I'm not sharing that quote to depress you or to lower the mood in any way, but certainly it resonated with me. We are so adaptable, and there's this saying that, you know, we're all in this together, but we're all having vastly different experiences at the same time. So this is affecting everybody in the world, and yet we are all living with a completely different healthcare system, different economic situations, finances, family situations, and also we're all coming in with our own past experiences that some of us are still carrying within our body. So it's no wonder that there is waves of how we're feeling right now, and certainly feeling that we're not in control. It's not a nice feeling. So hopefully I will give you some top tips today that you can cultivate to bring a little bit of certainty into your own life. The first one, and it's a very obvious one, is shift your focus from the things you can't control to the things that you actually can. So it's just about shifting our focus and shifting our perspective. So whilst we're in a global pandemic, you know, sometimes people like looking at the statistics rather than looking at the amount of people that have got sick or the amount of people that have died. We could perhaps look at the amount of people that have recovered from this. And that's not to diminish COVID in any way, but it's just to bring some ease to our nervous systems. Sorry, I went very dark there. So yeah, so just to bring some ease and reassurance to our own systems. The second thing is we can be in control of what we watch with our eyes and what we listen to. And it's very easy at the minute to get caught up watching the news and getting engrossed in the news. I stopped watching the news a long time ago, years and years ago. But here's the really interesting thing. Whilst I stopped watching the news about 10 years ago, around the same time I got a Facebook account. It's really interesting. And you don't need to watch the news now because you just can scroll onto Facebook and you're going to see the news on Facebook. So what I've actually done of more recent is I have deleted the news app off my mobile phone, and instead I have installed the Guardian app because, well, I feel it's a more trusted news broadcast medium, but you might pick a different one, for example. But just be mindful of how much you're exposing yourself to the news, because all the doom and gloom and all the fear is going to be impactful for your mind and for your body. And when we go into that fear response, we're going to release adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormones, and those stress hormones actually lower our immune system. So I would say become more conscious of what you're exposing yourself to. Now is a time to, yes, be aware of what's going on in the world, but it's also a time to, you know, be conscious of what we're watching and perhaps watch something a wee bit more lighthearted. Also, being mindful of what we are sharing as well on Facebook and various other social media platforms. You know, no social media platform is regulated. There's absolutely zero regulation. So anybody can share anything on the platform, and it doesn't necessarily have to be from a reliable source. It might even be fake. So, and Catherine, actually, you sent me a great thing the other day about questioning things that we hear or that we see on the news, and I think that's a really good technique. So to just question what we're reading, and is it true, and how do we know it's true? Has it come from a reliable source? Because sometimes people share things with the best intention, but in actual fact it can create some fear response within. within us. So just taking a wee bit of responsibility as to what we're watching and also what we're sharing out to the world as well. The next one is choosing what we believe, and I suppose that's kind of wrapped up in what we're watching and what we're sharing as well. And I think through this COVID situation, one thing that I am learning is that unlearning is just as important as learning. So unlearning old beliefs, unlearning a way of being, unlearning about how our society and culture works is just as important as learning new things as well. Another thing that we can control is how much we move our body and how we move our bodies as well. And I was with a group this morning, and some of that group weren't able-bodied, but there were certain things that they could do in their chair to move their body to feel a certain way. So we know that our nervous system loves movement. So move your body in a way that feels good for you. It will help with your system to feel regulated and to feel grounded. The next one is connection. So connecting in with people that we trust. You know, the world looks, I was gonna say, no, I'm not gonna say that word, but I am gonna say that word. It looks scary. So when you go into a shop and you're seeing folk with masks on, that is not normal, you know. And how we engage and how we communicate with people, we need to see their full faces in order to trust the person, in order to communicate. So masks at the minute it reminds me of a movie, to be honest. When I'm out shopping, I'm like, this is nearly, it feels surreal, like a really surreal experience. So because of that, it's so important that we do connect in with people that we trust, but also people that we enjoy spending time with. One of my students at the weekend, who was doing her laughter yoga leader training with me, she used the analogy, and I think she heard it from someone else, and I can't remember the exact source, but she was saying about lighthouses. You know, be the lighthouse, be the person that's shining light, and spend time with those people. Spend time with people that are radiators, that make you feel nice and warm. I guess now more than ever, you know, it's important to stay present, present with ourselves. And now is a time where it's important to be kinder with ourselves, well, I guess there's never really a right time to judge ourselves. You know, judgment is never a good thing, but I think certainly at the minute, as we go through these emotional waves of COVID, it's really important that we cultivate some sort of self-acceptance, and we drop the judgment, and we be more tender. We be more tender with ourselves, more motherly with ourselves, so we can soothe ourselves in those times where we are feeling fearful, where we are feeling completely exhausted. And you know, there's a lot of polarization going on out there at the minute as well. So just, you know, having that sense of compassion for ourselves and compassion for other people. We're all doing the very best that we can under really difficult times. Another lovely technique to share is nasal breathing. So really trying to breathe through the nose rather than breathe through the mouth. And there are so many benefits to nasal breathing. It is something I share in almost all of my programs. Apologies for the lighting. I'm in my kitchen here today, and the lighting doesn't look particularly great. In fact, my face is going very dark at times, and I'm nearly like a silhouette sitting here, so apologies for that. So yes, so let's just try and cultivate some self-care practices, I guess, that can help us feel that You know, we're in control of our bodies, we're in control of ourselves, and trying to cultivate some certainty in a very uncertain time. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Please do look after yourself and each other, and do be tender with yourselves at the minute. Now is not the time to be judging yourself on having a rough day. We are all having those days, so just be really kind with yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was of benefit. We have a few minutes. If anybody has any comments or questions, I am going to attempt to go in and see where everyone is from. Let me see. Hi, Monica. How are you? Hi, Gemma. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Amy. How are you all? I hope you're all well. So it would be lovely to hear if you're listening on live or replay, and also feedback for any topics that you would like me to share on a Monday. I usually do this on a Monday morning, as I said, but today I have another work commitment. So next Monday, all being well, I'll be back at 9:30, and I'm not sure what the topic's going to be, so please let me know if you have any suggestions. Otherwise, I will hopefully come up with some sort of subject that will be of help. Thank you all so much, and I will connect in again soon. Take care.